was a flight that changed our view of the world as we know it. By becoming the first man in space in 1961, Yuri Gagarin literally brought the stars closer to mankind, and today he would have been celebrating his 80th birthday. Right now, you're looking at footage from the legendary voyage, which saw the cosmonauts circle the Earth. Well, RT is now joining the ranks of those marking the historic date, welcoming you to do so as well. In fact, we went onto the streets of London and New York to find out what Europeans and Americans know about Gagarin.
Yuri Gagarin?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
He was the very first man in space. Yes, I know that.
No, I don't. He sounds Russian.
I only know that he was Russian and he was the first man in space.
You have to think about what it was like, what space was really about, getting there, being the first man in space.
Wasn't it from the Soviet Union?
Yes.
The ex-president down there? No, the dictator that got kicked out?
A groundbreaker. The first to go in space.
The astronaut?
Bravo.
Cosmonaut.
Cosmonaut, yes, the cosmonaut.
Personally, I don't know much, as you can tell.
Right.
But, yeah.
But now that I tell you, it's a huge success.
Definitely going to Google him.
All right, let's have a look here at exactly what Yuri Gagarin's fellow Russians are thinking about him. His countrymen have picked him as the nation's #1 idol. According to the country's oldest polling agency, 35% of respondents put Gagarin on top. The cosmonaut was chosen ahead of a popular Soviet singer and a victorious World War II marshal. And to commemorate Gagarin's voyage, some have gone to great lengths. Filmmaker Christopher Riley recreated the flight in his documentary First Orbit. We caught up with him for a chat.
Back in about 2010, as the 50th anniversary of Yuri Gagarin's pioneering flight around the world was approaching, I was looking for a way of trying to celebrate his achievement through film, and there wasn't really any footage from on board his spacecraft of the views of the Earth that he would have seen. And so I started to talk to the European Space Agency about maybe whether we could film his orbit again, simply by matching up the orbits of the International Space Station to that of Vostok 1, Gagarin's spacecraft 50 years before. We did manage to kind of film Gagarin's original view, and then we married that together with his original voice recordings of his excited sort of chatter back to the ground as he made this orbit, and to see what he was actually seeing 50 years on. So that was the starting point for kind of making the film, I guess. And I was really amazed by how popular it was. And I think that's a sort of testimony to the appeal, the enduring appeal of this amazing endeavour that this young man did.
And Gagarin's space adventure also gave birth to a whole variety of professional superstitions. First of all, in the past, if you wanted to go to space, you better shave off your moustache. Cosmonauts considered it bad luck. Nowadays, remember to lay flowers at Yuri Gagarin's memorial. Red carnations are mandatory. Third, be ready to live in the Cosmos Hotel that's historically housed those about to blast off into orbit. Also, all male cosmonauts must wee on a wheel of the bus that takes them to the launch pad. And the captain of the mission gives a friendly kick to other team members. Apparently, it brings luck. And for some comfort during the trip to orbit, there's always a small teddy bear in the spaceship cockpit as well. And one of the major consequences of Gagarin's flight was to spur on the space race, of course, between the Soviet Union and America. And Marina Portnaya has more.
Sometimes a standoff between two great powers can create healthy competition. Amid tensions, threats, and an arms race, reaching the new frontier was a dream shared by Cold War adversaries. The space race would end several years after Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, but what began was a new cosmic partnership. In 1975, the joint Apollo-Soyuz mission achieved the famous handshake in space. The Soviets and Americans went from pointing missiles at each other to exploring the galaxy together, eventually becoming partners in International Space Station programs.
If you talk to the astronauts and the cosmonauts, they point out that when they look at the Earth from space, there are no borders, and it's really one Earth, and they have a common goal to explore the universe and to further knowledge of our Earth and the other planets. And with that common goal, they have worked together very well.
Over the decades, Russia and the U.S. have disagreed on many issues, yet their extraterrestrial relationship remains stable. Experts say the countries need each other to maintain and build upon the successes already achieved.
There's a space club, if you will, that the United States and Russia created there's a prestige, a national capability that's expressed by the ability to explore space.
Gagarin's heroic achievement opened up the door to unimaginable possibilities. Russia and the U.S. have overcome their differences, achieving a common approach in outer space. Here on Earth, not so simple. Reporting from New York, Marina Portnaya, RT.